Tonight on Joy News Prime, IGP invokes the full might of the police to hand down perpetrators of Monday's armed attack on a Bullion van, which left 2 people, a policeman and a 40-year-old mother of 3, dead.
Commissioner CID to take over the case because of the importance we attach to it. So he has started, and I'm sure, as I indicated, we will definitely get them. We will get them.
We have details of the IGP's visit to the home of the slain policeman. We also returned to the crime scene a day after the event, and we'll bring you details. Meanwhile, doctors treating the driver of the Bullion van who survived the attack have been explaining how they managed to stabilize him.
The bullets had penetrated the chest wall and damaged vessel and was bleeding heavily into the chest. He also had bullets in the thoracic spine.
Health Minister Kwame justifies government's quest to procure Sputnik V vaccines at exorbitant prices, saying Ghanaian lives are at stake.
So we didn't have options than to go through middlemen. When we have said right from the beginning that we wouldn't use middlemen in trying to procure vaccines. There was pressure back home that the president should make efforts to procure vaccines. We should rely only on the COVAX grant that was coming.
President Akufo-Addo has meanwhile admitted to the challenges being faced with efforts to procure the vaccines.
Fortunately, we are the victims of this worldwide shortage of vaccines that all over humanity, especially the poorer, less advantaged nations, are experiencing in having access to the vaccine.
In business, we'll hear from a banking consultant who says it is unrealistic for banks to comply with the June ending deadline for them to use only armored bullion vans in the movement of cash in the country.
End of this month is too early. If they give them about 3 months to order these armored vehicles, they are not around the shops that you're going to be buying. You have to order them. So I think Bank of Ghana should be a little bit lenient.
My name is Israel. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our Afforestation studios at Kumasi here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Stay tuned in. The Ghana Police Service says it is going all out to ensure the armed gunmen who attacked a Bullion van Monday and killed 2 people in the process are arrested and brought to book. The police escort in the Bullion van was killed, as well as a 40-year-old mother of 3. A third victim, the driver of the van, is currently battling for his life at the Kollywood Teaching Hospital. Inspector General of Police James Opombueno has been to the home of the slain police officer to commiserate with the family. Manuel Karanting was with the delegation and filed this report.
Absolutely devastating scenes that we've been seeing in the past couple of hours that we've been here at the family house of Emmanuel Osei, the slain police officer from Monday afternoon's armed robbery attack. Indeed, the entire hierarchy of the police service has been here assuring the family of its utmost commitment to bringing the perpetrators of that heinous crime to books. It's been a bit more than just receiving the assurances of the Ghana Police Service. In fact, we've had family members, who have been wailing this entire period, sharing some of their really fondest memories of the gentleman whose death they are mourning. Emmanuel Osei is just about 10 days from becoming 26 years old. His birthday is on 25th of June, and he did not live to see his 26th birthday. We're learning that he passed out of the Ghana Police Training Academy less than a year ago. It's just about a month and a half to his 1 year anniversary since he passed out of the Ghana Police Training Academy. So it gives you an essence of the expectation really that the family had of him.
I just say, Saturday me hono ofia so sister me kwaba me nya dan bi wo hanti me kwaba wo bete menka na Monday yate sa asem we a se na obefa no na me bisa se na ye adwuma because na obete na eku police ni wo ha sei o chon be na soja ni bi e wo ha sei o chon bete na eku custom ni bi ato ha sei e cost too much enti dia me srene se Yenina yet your man when you would dear cost ha. I cost too much. And see, you be being for him. And I may be say, Could be Cono Coy and Yasomano. And I say, none of them per coy. Because you are bumble beer a dear one. No bulletproof, no helmet, no shirt, be any honomo. And I see a somano. And so Sumana is saying, Yantia, Yantia, and to me, Pacho, me be so Yasumano, Sumana, Yasumana is saying.
So she's questioning really the modus operandi of the police service. He's asking that was Emmanuel on an assignment, and if he indeed was on an assignment, what is the protocol for policemen if they're going on assignment? Are they supposed to be wearing some protective gear? If they are indeed supposed to, why wasn't he wearing? And these are questions that James Opon-Bueno, the Inspector General of Police, has been assuring that the entire police architecture is fervently looking for answers to.
Your friend is a member. Na you shoot 2 million. No, I'm saying you shoot no saying. And also somebody sika ko baby na your friends you shoot no kolebu horse. And I'm saying na say don't you shoot no. I don't kono bambo ben na your friends and for the man no ntia you shoot no. If say oh ko baby a I say obi odi sika ko baby de. I was say bambo bi de. So Hemnet be there, your friends say you know the yeti otimi shebi. So now we be anhye no. Na yesi onko. Into Somani Sumano and Faso Bene also.
And she's just reiterating the point that the lady made earlier about questioning the safety gear and so on that he was supposed to have been wearing.
I want justice for my brother. Justice is what is needed. Justice, because dying on the line of duty, it's not easy. He was serving the nation and he passed on. So all what's supposed to be given to him must be given. And all that is supposed to be done for him must be done. That's what we are pleading now. Leaving my mother behind, leaving my old boy behind. It's very painful. My dad is a pensioner. My mommy, she's a trader. And he's the one taking care of my mother.
He moved out of the house less than 72 hours to his death, and that's something that is striking the family in more ways than one. We have learned that the Ghana Police Service has appointed a liaison officer between the family and then the service itself. In your shot currently behind me is the liaison officer currently speaking to the father and a few other members of the family on the arrangement on exactly how the service is going to proceed in conjunction really with the family as the investigations carry on.
Well, IGP James Opon-Bueno has vowed the service will not rest until the suspects are apprehended.
As I indicated, you know, when crimes are committed, you have procedures that you go through. You activate your informant and you take the necessary steps apart from intensifying your patrols and making sure that it doesn't occur again, you start your investigative processes, which we have already put in motion. If you recall, yesterday we issued a statement, and before that, I had instructed the Commissioner CID to take over the case because of the importance we attach to it. So he has started, and I'm sure, as I indicated, we will definitely get them. We will get them.
Also announced a raft of measures being introduced to prevent a recurrence of such bullion van attacks. Key amongst them is a June 30 ultimatum for all banks to use only armored bullions to transport cash.
Let me assure you that we are not just sitting down. We have had a series of meetings with the banks and the companies that deal with cash. We call them cash in transit vehicle companies. And just before I came here, I had a meeting with the governor of the Bank of Ghana, as well as the members of the executive members of the Association of Bankers of Ghana. And these are issues that we discussed. And from now on, let's say from 30th of this month, any bank or any company that does not have a bulletproof, how do you call it, a bullion van, we are not going to provide any service for that company. So in actual fact, we are actually doing what we can to protect the people of Ghana. There's no society in the world where there's no crime. Even in the US, in the UK, Sweden, and all those countries where I would say they more or less have everything, they still have crime. The only place that doesn't have crime is heaven, and we are not in heaven.
Right, so let's bring you the outcome of that meeting between the IGP and the executives of the Ghana Association of Bankers, as well as the Bank of Ghana. So it says the Inspector General of Police, IGP James Opon-Buenu, has met with the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, executives of the Ghana Association of Bankers and Managing Directors of Banks in Ghana to discuss further solutions to minimize risk associated with moving cash in the country. The meeting, which was also attended by the Second Deputy Governor, Mrs. Elsie Ado Awaji, directors of BOG and members of the Police Management Board, reiterated that commercial banks will implement the use of standardized equipment for specie and cash in transit services by 30th June 2021. This will include services outsourced by the banks to any company that performs CIT duties. Now, the meeting also discussed other immediate, medium and long-term measures for banks to operate in safe and secured environments. Matters discussed included protective gear for police officers on bank security duties, security background assessment of staff used for cash duties, security of votes, and banking premises, among others. The police administration therefore assures its officers and the general public of the administration's commitment to protect the lives of police officers in the discharge of their constitutionally mandated duty of maintaining law and order. Now, residents of Adedinkpo close to Jamestown have blocked entry and exit points to the community a day after a policeman and a 40-year-old mother of three were shot dead in an afternoon armed attack on a bullion van. Maxwell Agbagba was back at the crime scene to interact with residents, and a man who was very close to where the policeman was killed and report many of the shops in the community have been closed.
A cloud of grief still hangs on this community. A cloud of fear still hangs around, and when you speak to the residents, you get a sense of what their experience and the trauma that they are continuing to go through as a result of this robbery. Here is the convenience store where the 40-year-old mother of three used to do business. This place served as a place where the many businesses dotted here in this community, the mechanics, the kinky sellers, all of them, when they want water, when they want drinks, this is where they come. But today, her shop is closed, and we're told that the family here has relocated. Now, this makeshift structure served as a place where the residents will usually sit during the day to discuss the game of football, to talk about boxing, to talk about anything that is of interest to them. Two men were in this building when the police officer was shot right here at the spot. The eyewitness who was in here says He was just lucky that he did not scream. You were in this room. Yes. What did you see?
I just lying down. The moment when I hear it, a gun shot him. Pow, pow, pow. Where I wake up my head. The moment when I saw his gentleman wear a cap.
He was wearing a cap.
A cap and a long sleeves and jacket.
He was in a long sleeves and a jacket. Earlier you were telling me that it looked like a bulletproof vest.
Yeah. I can see something like that. But the moment when the thing happened, you can't open your eye and watch everything very listen. So you have to hide yourself. So the moment when I see shooting two bullets, open the police side, shot again and took the gun and passed the bullet van back. Since that time I also lie down, so I didn't come up again to see what is going on. Yeah.
But by natural instinct, you nearly screamed. Now, what happened? Your other friend who was with you, what happened to him?
What he tell me that, quiet, don't talk. So I have to calm down again. I didn't talk again. So that after that, I didn't see anything going on again. What I see, they are run away before I take my food and call the police. Now we are afraid. Now we are people who live in this community. We are afraid because since yesterday I didn't sleep.
I've been passing here all the time. I've even told him that even when they pass here, they throw all their glass and giving them one now. They shouldn't use the bullion vans to pass here because this place is not good place for them to use a bullion van to pass on this lane because this place is roughly. You see, so the moment I heard that this car has been attacked, this is what I said. You see, it has come on. You see.
So you actually want the bullion van driver not to be using this?
Yeah. That's what I told you.
But any idea why he continued?
Okay, the idea that I have is, I've been seeing that, you see the junction there getting to Palladium, to the other junction over there. There's a huge traffic over there, so he wanted to dodge.
Busy timber market is just some meters away from this place. It's just 100 meters away from this place. So in here, you find mechanics who do business here. So you see all these vehicles here. So you find the owners of these vehicles coming here to visit the mechanics to check up on their cars. So there are a lot of activities here. This is a pub. This is a drinking spot, which is here. Earlier, I came here to get water. The woman who sells the water, in fact, when she saw me approaching, her face changed. And she told me that is what it feels like now doing business in this community. Now, this is a place where they sell kinky, women busy doing business. That was what was happening here in this community when the robbers invaded this busy place and then attacked the bullion van. I want to show you what happened yesterday. So the residents tried blocking the road using this metal here. The operation, we are told, lasted 3 minutes, and they tried blocking the road using this metal. But unfortunately, the robbers used another exit. They used the other side, so they were able to get away from the community. Now, these things were put here today because the community members tell me that they don't want anyone to use their space as a thoroughfare for now. They say they are grieving, and it is important for them to be able to grieve in peace.
Despite being shot Monday, the driver of the Bullion van survived thanks to the incredible work done by doctors at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The doctors explained it took more than 6 hours to stabilize a 35-year-old for an operation late Monday evening. Head of the Accident and Emergency Unit at the hospital, Dr. Frederick Kwarting, tells Joy News' Manuel Karanting they had to retrieve several pellets from the driver's chest and limbs.
Team was to us at Accident, who happens to be the driver of the Bullion van. He had sustained gunshot injuries to the chest and to the limbs. He was in a very bad situation. He was in shock. And our assessment showed that the bullets had penetrated the chest wall and damaged vessels and was bleeding heavily into the chest. He also had bullets in the thoracic spine, and also the gunshot injury damaged the right hand. There were pellets in the whole of the right upper limb, in the arm, and in the forearm. As soon as he was brought, though he was fully conscious, he was drowsy and was in shock with very low blood pressures. In fact, his blood pressure was about 80 systolic and 50 diastolic. So it means he was in a severe shock, and we started resuscitation. We tried to stabilize him. Now, in the process of the resuscitation, we noticed that even though we were giving him much fluids and blood transfusion, his blood pressure kept dropping. And so we did further evaluation and realized he was bleeding actively in the chest and had accumulated a lot of blood in the chest, which will have been detrimental to his survival. So as an emergency procedure, we put a chest tube into the chest to drain the blood. But we realized that whilst we were draining the blood, he was still bleeding profusely in the chest. So yesterday in the night, around 9 p.m., he was rushed to theater by the cardiothoracic surgeons, where he had thoracotomy done. In other words, surgery that opens into the chest to stop all the bleeding points and to be stabilized. As we speak, he had surgery yesterday and he is fairly stable, but is still on the recovery wards.
The minority in parliament is asking President Akufo-Addo to sit up and deal with what it says is growing insecurity in the country. Minority spokesperson on Defense and Interior, James Agaga, says Monday's attack at Jamestown, which claimed 2 lives, including that of a police officer, coming on the back of recent deaths of 4 other police officers, shows no one is safe. He blames the situation on poor management of the police service, including the retention of several pensioners. He says he has left personnel demoralized.
Ladies and gentlemen, 4 more years for Nana has begun with a rise in fear of crime. Ghanaians no longer feel safe compared to our immediate past. Violent crime-related cases, particularly robbery, is shaking the foundation of our nation, and it is only fair and a duty for us to call on the Nana Akufo-Addo administration to up its game. We do understand that the Ghana Police Service is cluttered with many pensioners who are either on contract or extension of service. We agree that giving contracts to officers after they hit the mandatory retirement age of 60 is the prerogative of the President. But if government decisions do not produce the results that citizens expect, the peace and security that we so desire, we will become spectators and not citizens if we fail to raise the red flag.
Now, government through Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia in August 2019 committed to doing this after 2 policemen were shot dead in the line of duty. Let's hear him.
The era when we send police for outside duties, whether for traffic or other duties, unarmed, I think is over. Henceforth, all police who go for outside duties will carry ammunition, will carry weapons, and will also have bulletproof vests and helmets.
The Ashanti Regional Police Command says it will not rule out contract killing in the shooting of the wife of a driver of the Ghana National Petroleum Company. Benedict Poku Asapon was shot at close range in a Range Rover vehicle at a spot near Kumasi Airport roundabout Sunday dawn. She was later pronounced dead at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. Police say 4 men in a green Toyota Camry sped off after the shooting and have since mounted a search for the suspects, even as they await the release of CCTV footage from National Security to aid investigations. Public Relations Officer of the Ashanti Region Command, ASP Godwin Ahianyo, tells Ohim Interior of our Security that 2 witnesses, including the husband of the deceased, have been assisting in the investigation.
Responsibility of you, the civilian, to also be security conscious. The kind of places you go to, the kind of things you do, the things that you say. You understand me? The Regional Police Command has recorded a case of alleged murder of a lady who happened to be the wife of Nana Agyemang-Prempeh. The husband reported to the police last 2 days that he was returning with the wife from town. He was driving in his car while the wife was also driving in hers. And some young guys, numbering about 4, in a private vehicle, that is a saloon car, crossed them. And when he also stopped to question them, one of them shot at the wife. So the police have initiated investigation into that alleged murder case. We've invited the complainant, who is now the bereaved husband of the late lady. He's given us some leads. He was in the company of other persons. The command has also invited those persons to also come and then give statement to corroborate whatever the gentleman is telling the police. So far, no arrest has been made, but then we are in touch with the National Security Secretariat because of the CCTV cameras mounted around the airport runabout. I'm sure when we're able to get the footage, we'll be able to get some leads that will help us unravel the circumstances that actually led to this alleged murder of the young lady. From the narrative, we are not ruling out contract killing because nothing was taken from them. They were not robbed of any of their personal effects.
Oheming Teya joins me live on Zoom. Oheming, we understand the Ashanti region has been recording some murder cases in recent times. This should be a concern to both residents and police. What has been the reaction so far?
Yes, Israel, indeed, if you take your mind back in the last 1 month, the region has seen what police describe as violent crimes in the region. First, there was an incident at Bantama where a vendor was arrested, actually robbed of money during the daytime. Another incident did happen at Kumasi, a book as that have been made by residents come up as far as their security is concerned. But police, they think that last 2 quarters, they say a crime has declined in the region.
When we talk about crime situation in the region, comparing these cases talking about and that of last year and then the past years, I would say relatively crime is low. Per our statistics, the first and second quarter of this year, we have not had cases on the ascendancy. They are rather very low. But we have recorded 1 or 2 violent cases. Let me just tell you that these 2 cases or 3 cases that you mentioned, as we speak, arrests have been made. Some persons have been arrested. In both cases, we had video footages via CCTV cameras. We've been able to identify some persons, but because we have not come out to tell the general public that this is what we have done, people think these cases are unresolved. But I can tell you on authority that the police have made arrests. We are in touch with the Greater Accra region. The suspects are with the Accra Regional Command. They are investigating them in other related cases. And if you look at the Bantama robbery incident and that of Bokrom, They are very similar. So it tells you that it is this very syndicate who perpetrated that crime, who also went to Bullion to perpetrate that crime.
We're still staying with Ohiming. Now, Ohiming, in the event of these violent crimes, what does the police expect from the citizenry as far as their security is concerned?
Police expect a lot from the citizenry. For police, they expect the citizenry to be cautious of their security and take measures to protect themselves. For instance, they spoke against the fact that some residents will go a long way to display their wealth in public, and people should refrain from this.
Responsibility of you, the civilian, to also be security conscious. The kind of places you go to, the kind of things you do, the things that you say. You understand me? Maybe you're a businessman. You go and sit somewhere, and then you share your business strategy. You discuss issues with people in public. You don't know who is listening to you. You understand me? Somebody will go and sit somewhere, be flaunting whatever he or she has, telling his friends what he has, the kind of vehicles he drives in, the houses he has, and all that. At the end of the day, you don't know who you are exposing yourself to. You understand me? So let us all be security conscious.
Well, Ohiming Teria, now finally, there's this backstory to the drive of the chief executive of the GMPC, which I'd want you to share with us. Apparently, he appears to be quite wealthy.
Yes, Israel, the story is very familiar. Many people are familiar with this particular story because some few weeks ago on social media platform, there was this viral video about this gentleman, Nana Ajiman Prempe, flaunting dollar notes in the video, $1,000 in his possession. So police will not rule out. Probably this would have been one of the reasons that the criminals targeted him. So ASP Gordon Ahianyo believes this could also be another lead for police investigation. So it was based on this that he advised the public against this practice that he says could invite criminals to the homes of residents.
Probably looking into the source of wealth as well, or this hasn't come up? Thank you very much, Ohiming Teria, bringing us up to speed with events in the Shanti Regional Capital. We're taking a break. You're on Join News Front, but still ahead in the bulletin, Health Minister Kwaku Agyeman justifies government's quest to procure Sputnik V vaccines at exorbitant prices, saying Ghanaian lives are at stake.
So we didn't have options than to go through middlemen. When we have said right from beginning that we wouldn't use middlemen in trying to procure vaccines, there was pressure back home that the president should make efforts to procure vaccines. We should rely only on the COVAX grant that was coming.
In business, we will hear from a banking consultant who says it is unrealistic for banks to comply with a June ending deadline to use only armored bullion vans in the movement of cash in the country.
End of this month is too early. If they give them about 3 months to order these armored vehicles, they are not around the shops that you're going to be buying. You have to order them. So
Stay tuned in. We'll be back in a bit.
And welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aiche. The Bank of Ghana is set to push all financial institutions to fully comply with directive of using armored bullion vans for carting currencies into the country. It was one of these issues discussed at an emergency meeting convened by the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, today. It follows Monday's unfortunate incident at the timber market here in Accra, where robbers attacked a bullion van, killing 2, a policeman escorting the van and a hawker. The Inspector General of Police, James Opon Bueno, in response directed all banks and financial institutions to provide fortified armored vehicles for carting of currencies by the end of this month. According to the Inspector General, failure to do so would leave the police with no option but to withdraw these services. And of course, as we're now hearing, the central bank has stepped in to push on financial institutions to fully comply by this directive. Well, meanwhile, banking consultant and former managing director of the Bank of Africa, Medicine Tokonu, says it is unrealistic for banks to meet the June 2021 deadline of procuring armored bullion vans for carton currencies. He's therefore urging the banks to dialogue with the Inspector General for an extension of the date to at least 3 months. He spoke earlier on Business Live.
I think Bank of Ghana should not rush into this, because I don't think there is any bank in Ghana today that will be able to get the armored vehicles by the end of the month. For me, I would say that this month, end of this month, is too early. If they give them about 3 months to order these armored vehicles, they are not around the shops that you're going to be buying. You have to order them. So I think Bank of Ghana should be a little bit lenient with the banks so that they can satisfy everybody. I can imagine the banks in a very difficult position. I think they need to dialogue with the IGP. I believe that if they give them some space, even if you want to establish letters of credit, for the Bullion vans to come, I don't think it will be within 90 days. I mean, that's the best they can do. So I think the banks should dialogue with the IGP. Let them show to the IGP that they are serious, and all of them are making efforts in order to get the Bullion vans. I think that is what they should do.
Well, the Bank of Ghana has issued a warning to those buying from or selling foreign currency to unlicensed persons or entities to desist from doing so, saying it is prohibited by law. It is therefore urging the public to report such illegal activities to the Financial Stability Department. Here's more.
In a release as part of its financial literacy education on Forex Bureau, the central bank said those engaged in the buying and selling of foreign currency without a license would be punished upon a summary conviction by a fine or a prison term of not more than 18 months or both. In that regard, the black market operator is an illegal foreign exchange dealer who does not have Bank of Ghana's license and thus must be avoided. It further said one will be required to provide identification documents before conducting any transaction with the Forex Bureau, and therefore any Forex Bureau that does not demand an ID card should be reported. The identification card includes passport, driver's license, voter's ID, and national ID card. Subject to availability, it continued saying one can foreign currency from only authorized banks and Forex Bureau after providing all relevant documentation. It cautioned consumers to be careful because one is likely to trade in fake currency, be drawn into money laundering, terrorist financing, or be attacked by armed robbers when one does business with a black market operator. It further added that the sole legal tender in the country is the cedi, and therefore it is prohibited to price, advertise, and demand for payment for goods and services in foreign currency. Meanwhile, the maximum amount per transaction at the Forex Bureau is $10,000.
And that'll be all for business for this segment. I'm Charles Aite.
The Cape Coast Teaching Hospital has intensified the training of staff on the management of complications of hypertensive disorders and postpartum hemorrhage among pregnant women. The hospital says it will also continue to work with the Ghana Health Service and facilities that refer cases to the hospital to improve maternal health service delivery as it battles to reduce maternal deaths to the barest minimum. Chief Executive Officer of the hospital, Dr. Eric Kofi Njedu, intimated data available to the hospital on maternal deaths in 2020 was worrying, even though it was a marginal improvement over the previous year. He was speaking at a ceremony where MTN Ghana Foundation handed over a fully furnished ultra-modern blood bank facility to the hospital. Rita Kudunyako has more in the following report.
The corporate social investment worth $300,000 was initiated in 2020 as part of a strategic intervention to support health delivery in Ghana. Chief Executive Officer of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Dr. Eric Kofi-Njedu, indicated the hospital recorded 26 maternal deaths in 2020 at a ratio of 903 to 100,000 live births, compared to 28 reported in the previous year, with a corresponding ratio of 925 to 100,000 live births. Even though there was an improvement, he indicated the hospital was worried about the numbers and would work to reduce the numbers.
Postpartum hemorrhage accounted for the highest number of these deaths, which is not different from the previous years. It was in this light that the hospital board in 2019 tasked management to implement recommendations made by the Technical and Planning Committee of the board to renovate and revamp the hospital blood bank to improve the availability of blood and blood-related products. Management sought for support from MTN Foundation, and that request gave birth to this beautiful edifice we are commissioning today. Management has also intensified training of staff on the management of complications such as hypertensive disorders in pregnancy and postpartum hemorrhage for improved quality maternal health outcomes. In addition, the hospital will continue to work with the Ghana Health Service and heads of other referring hospitals to improve maternal health services delivery and improve outcomes.
The Cape Coast Teaching Hospital CEO says it used its collaborative partnership as a vehicle to secure expansion of the pharmacy storage facility from benevolent organizations, and the construction of the facility has been completed and handed over to the hospital. Chief Corporate Services Executive of MTN Ghana, Samuel Crunchy, noted at the commissioning of the blood bank that the investment symbolizes the company's unwavered commitment towards improving the lives of Ghanaians.
The MTN Ghana Foundation has over the years been very instrumental in blood donation campaigns in the country. The construction of this facility, therefore, serves as a good monument of our contribution to the collection and storage of blood in Ghana. We are even more excited because we are making a significant contribution to the health needs of the people of this region and Ghana at large.
Data on blood donation from 2016 to 2019 reveals the percentage of voluntary donations in Ghana is around 35%. The current situation, the Ghana Health Service says, is woefully inadequate to respond to emergencies. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejo-Nyakon, Cape Coast.
The head of Transfusion Medicine Unit at the Kumasi Teaching Hospital has appealed to the government to help absorb the cost of processing blood under the National Health Insurance Scheme. Dr. Shirley Owusu-Ofori says this is critical to make voluntary blood donation more attractive to the people. She made this appeal at an event to commemorate World Blood Donors Day at the Kumasi Teaching Hospital.
World Blood Donors Day is celebrated across the world to appreciate voluntary blood donors who donate blood to save millions of lives. Under the theme, Celebration of a Gift of Life, several students from various schools in the Ashanti region joined in the commemoration. Head of Transfusion Medicine Unit at CAF, Dr. Shirley Owusu-Ofori, says more can be done to encourage voluntary blood donation.
We know that blood is given to patients as a treatment. If blood is a treatment and an essential medicine, then it is important that our governments recognize blood and blood components as such. It is important that our national health insurance schemes cover blood and blood products. The processing fees, the cost of processing a unit to make it safe enough to be given to patients must be covered by health insurance. In that case, if a patient walks into hospital and does not have that processing fee on him or her, he should not be denied a unit of blood because of the inability to pay. Our voluntary donors sometimes feel a bit unhappy about the fact that they give a unit of blood free of charge, but sometimes in hospitals and in various facilities, they themselves or their relatives have had to pay the cost of processing the blood. But if our health insurance schemes and if government has some money set aside to cover these blood and blood products, that would make it easier on families who need blood. And I'm sure we will see a boost also in volunteer donors who come out. We are aiming and striving for 100% voluntary blood donations in our country. And some of the times, the challenges we come across in mobilizing and sensitizing people are that processing fees are borne by individuals instead of governments.
Some blood donors shared their experience of helping save lives and encourage others to do the same.
And with blood donation, it comes with a lot of challenges. Most of the times, as donors, when we are coming for blood from the facility, we are told to pay processing fee. And we are telling the government if they can absorb the processing fee for us. I think it will go a long way to help our donors and to help other people who are not donors, non-donors, to also come around to donate to save lives.
If it's absorbed, maybe more people will donate, and then we have more blood in stock for eventualities. So I think it's good.
Latif Awa reporting for Joy News.
President Akufo-Addo has admitted to challenges facing Ghana in the procurement of COVID-19 vaccines for its citizens, explaining that many developing countries have become victims of the supply chain constraints primarily due to the coronavirus situation in India. About 500,000 Ghanaians are currently unsure when they will receive the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine after the COVAX facility made available some supplies to the country. Addressing funding roadmap under the Sustainable Development Goals, President Akufo-Addo said the country is exploring ways to start local production of the vaccine.
Through the COVAX facility, we've received some 1.2 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, which has enabled us to vaccinate completely some 350,000 people, and some 850,000 have received their first dose. Unfortunately, we are the victims of this worldwide shortage of vaccines that all over humanity, especially the poorer, less advantaged nations, are experiencing in having access to the vaccines. So that, of course, is the major challenge for us, the procurement and the issues of logistics involved in it. It has provided us a very important lesson. Among the many lessons that the COVID has revealed to us, the need for self-reliance in future in these areas. We cannot continue to be dependent on alms and on the charity of foreigners and foreign taxpayers for our basic sustenance. We need to be able to put in place the structures that will enable us in future not to be caught with our pants down. And that is that we have to learn and find the avenue to produce our own vaccines. And I'm particularly keen on providing the assistance for the institutions of our country to do so.
Now, Health Minister Kwaku Agyeman-Manu has meanwhile justified government's attempt to procure vaccines at nearly twice the market price. Government has been heavily criticized for its use of intermediaries to secure over 5 million doses of the Sputnik V vaccines at a cost of $19 instead of the $10 price on the international market, with the minority threatening to hold the Minister of Health before Parliament. Commenting publicly on the matter for the first time at the launch of the Pest and Vector Control Association of Ghana in Accra, Mr. Agyeman-Manu said Ghana had no choice but to procure the vaccines at the exorbitant price because Ghanaian lives were at stake.
The African Medicine Supply Platform, we had registered with them. The one they were allocating to us, Johnson & Johnson, had not been released, registered in Ghana, not even elsewhere in the world. And they couldn't give us nothing. The indication was until August. So we didn't have much options to swim around. We had to go for Sputnik. We invited the Deputy Ambassador of Russia to the President's office. He couldn't tell us any significant thing. I was directed to write to the Trade Minister in Russia, the Foreign Minister in Russia, all those who mattered in this issue. Our direct contact with RDIF yielded no results. So we didn't have options than to go through middlemen, when we have said right from beginning that we wouldn't use middlemen in trying to procure vaccines. There was pressure back home that the president should make efforts to procure vaccines. We should rely only on the COVAX grant that was coming. What could you have done? We sat down with them, did a lot of negotiations. We agreed on $19. We signed the agreement, right? We were supposed to do LC for the first delivery schedule. Even that, they were not going to supply the 3.4 million at a go. They gave us a schedule of 300,000, then 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, spread up to June from April. We are not very comfortable with that. Our LC delayed for some reasons. When it got to them and it was confirmed, they sent us a message that they had run out of stocks. And up to I speak, they haven't been able to drop one single dose. What wrong have I committed? There are several other things I should have gone through. But an emergency where people are dying, the disease is spreading, and we have found an antidote to vaccinate. And the president has promised Ghanaians that will protect the nation through the vaccination. What else could I have done?
Now, Foreign Affairs Minister of Ghana, Shirley Ayiko-Botwe, who is chairing the 46th Ordinary Meeting of the Mediation and Security Council of ECOWAS, says despite the myriad of security issues put in place, the ECOWAS sub-region continues to experience a number of terrorist attacks, leaving a trail of death and destruction. She cited attacks in Mali and Nigeria, as well as the recent assault on Burkina Faso, which resulted in 132 deaths as cases in point. She also talked about how the socio-political situation in Mali remains a major concern to ECOWAS. According to her, decisions arrived at the recent extraordinary session held recently in Accra will be critical to the way forward.
Beginning with the challenges of peace and security, despite our strong actions, the security environment across the region has witnessed increasing terrorist attacks. From the Sahel region through the Lake Chad Basin, attacks from terrorists and violent extremists have morphed with banditry, kidnapping, farmer-herder dynamics, and transnational organized crime to leave a trail of death, destruction, despair, and fear among our populations. This is particularly the case in the frontline states of Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Nigeria, where these deadly attacks have occurred. No member state is spared as a potential target. The recent attacks in Burkina, which led to 132 deaths among the civilian population, including children, is the latest example of this situation. Indeed, the terrorist groups are currently testing border defenses of coastal nations with a view to extending their reach to member states along the Gulf of Guinea. Meanwhile, the Gulf of Guinea itself has recorded the highest incidence of piracy and related maritime criminality in the world. The evolving developments in Chad, which straddles the Lake Chad Basin and the G5 Sahel countries, and the recent developments in Mali could add an aggravating element to the security situation facing the region.
Moving on, Minister of Information Kojo Nkrumah has asked the National Media Commission to ensure it makes public all decisions and takes on issues it interrogates. This, the minister believes, will help restore public confidence in the commission, as well as give the public the opportunity to examine the findings. Mr. Nkrumah said this at a program where a memorandum of cooperation on content regulation was signed in Accra Tuesday. And Odame has more in this report.
Currently, anyone who has issues with an undesired content in the media space has to write to the National Media Commission for the issue to be looked into. But Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah believes that channels can be expanded as a means of sanitizing the media space.
It should be possible for the NMC to find a way of receiving complaints from people locally, wherever they may be, either by mail, by written or hard copy letter, or even by phone, so that you are aware, you are notified of what is ongoing. We want to encourage you to publish your decisions so that other stakeholders in the ecosystem, civil society groups, industry watchers, academia, the general public, can follow your decisions
and satisfy themselves that indeed you have made a decision that is in the interest of the Republic.
About 18 groups, including the Ghana Armed Forces, Ghana Journalists Association, and the Media Foundation for West Africa, signed the memorandum. Director General of the National Communications Authority, Joe Anochi, explains the exact issues the memorandum will address.
We have at the NCA, we have established what we call a broadcast monitoring system. That gives us the ability in real time to understand the KPIs for all the licenses that we have, authorizations that we have given out, both for TV as well as radio. So if we work together collaboratively, we will be able to ensure that the airspace, the airways of the country is going the way it is supposed to be. That
President of the Ghana Journalists Association, Afel Money, is hopeful the cooperation will benefit both stakeholders and the media. For Joy News, I am Hannah Odami.
Deputy Minister Designate for Information Fatima Abubakar has dismissed claims that a culture of silence is creeping into the country. She says Ghana is enjoying a lot of free speech, which is why Twitter decided to set up its headquarters in Ghana. She's been speaking at a vetting before Parliament's Appointment Committee.
I believe that the context within which the phrase culture of silence was used is no longer prevalent in our country. The reason being that before the 1992 Constitution came into force, we had government monopoly when it comes to media. One radio station, one TV station, and even those who were licensed to bring out newspapers were only allowed to do sports and lotto. But from the 1992 Constitution and the liberties that have been given to the media under Article 21 and other legislations, the kind of successes and rise we have gained as a country when it comes to pluralism in the media space is overwhelming. It's not baby steps. Because the last time I checked from the NCA website some time ago, we had, as at the end of second quarter of 2020, some 475 radio stations and 146 TV stations. With emerging trends, we have the new media and so on and so forth. It has, and in addition to the repeal of the criminal libel law, which was spearheaded by our president, who was then Attorney General, you can see that the media, although some people would like to create the impression that there is a creeping culture of silence, in fact, it's not what I see as existing today. And it is one of the reasons why, because of the free media and tolerance and the democracy we have, that Jack Dorsey of Twitter announced that they are choosing Ghana as the Africa headquarters of Twitter. So I believe we've come a long way. We've not arrived, but there is no culture of silence.
Responding to a question from Udododio MP Nielante Vanderpoel, she said she is unaware government has recruited a social media army to attack those who criticize it.
A group of people to do social media work. And some of these people have been seen to be social media hawks who descend, attack ferociously on people who are seen to be critics of government. Do you think that fits into the perception that there is culture of silence?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm not aware of such payments or such organized groups.
You are not aware that there are people at this thing called communication officers who are paid under our budget?
No, Mr. Chairman.
You don't know?
No, please.
Amnesty International Ghana says it is disappointed with the Deputy Attorney General designate's position to disapprove scrapping of the death penalty from the country's law books. According to the human rights organization, his position was unexpected, seeing that the President and the Attorney General have backed a bill to amend the death penalty law, which will later be presented to Parliament. The death sentence has not been executed for about 3 decades now, prompting calls for its removal. At least 12 African countries, including Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Rwanda, Chad, Madagascar, have all amended their laws. But Afforestation Yeboah insists the state should carry out executions of people who have been sentenced to death, so it serves as a deterrence to murderers. Yeah, I accept of the submission before Parliament's Appointment Committee earlier.
As a human rights activist, human rights lawyer, I hold the view that life is precious, but that doesn't mean that you must also take someone's life. I'm a realist. I'm a positivist. If you look at some of the murders that we have, especially when it comes to even robbery with murder, the callous manner some of them carry out those actions, I think that we need to hold on for some time. Not at this stage. I equally also hold this view that as you have in the US, if this honorable house, together with other stakeholders, may want to venture into grading murders, some of them I subscribe to the execution of their full execution of their sentences. If it's murder, they have to be killed, they must be killed. At times, it sends some kind of signal to others that it doesn't pay to kill. But so far as we have it now, people are sentenced to death, they are in prison at Sawam. Some of them, under some circumstances you may say, you may want to sympathize with them. But there are others that I think, if we were to scrap their sentence, we may have more murders. So at the moment, I don't subscribe to scrapping it. I know that Amnesty International and the honorable member, Sosu, is a human rights activist, and he's interested in having that one scrapped. My colleague, the other deputy designate, Diana was there last week, and she's of the opinion that we may want to go that way. I hold a different view. I don't know the view of my boss, the Attorney General, but I think at this stage, we need to keep the laws in our status books, and if need be, carry out some of the sentences.
National Campaign Coordinator for Amnesty International, Samuel Aboche, disagrees with Mr. Tua Yeboah on the matter. He is surprised the minister will take that position, but he believes it will not dent their fight to get the law amended. He joins us on phone. Thank you very much, Mr. Aboche. So your position is that, first of all, you're surprised that the Deputy Minister designate is towing a different line.
Yes, of course, we are surprised. Because last year we were with the president, and the innovative way we suggested to the president for the death penalty to be abolished, the president bought into it, and that the Attorney General has been directed to consider our proposal for a bill to be brought to Cabinet for approval and onward forwarding to Parliament. And the president has personally appealed to Parliament to go by the partisan approach to have this bill passed. And our last update on the 21st of April in Cape Coast, the AG's rep made us aware that, but for COVID, the AG would have gone very far in these amendments. So when we had the Deputy Attorney General coming with this, of course, his private opinion, will be taken aback.
But indeed, he indicates that it's his personal opinion and that he wants to be a realist. He believes that it would deter others if you take action and execute murderers.
Of course, the Honorable Deputy Attorney General belong to the school of thought that believe that the death penalty serves as a deterrent to crime. But then, Israel, you agree with me that the robbers and the criminals, they watch TV every day, they watch radio and all, they listen to radio and all that. They watch their colleagues killed by the police, shot by the police. They watch those things. Some of them witness it in front of them when their colleagues are gunned down. But Israel, you agree with me that has never deterred them. And those who are bent on committing this kind of crime, they don't really care about what happened to their life. They have nothing to lose. In fact, when they engage in this kind of crime, they know that they might come out alive or dead. So you see, the death penalty has not really served the purpose of which it's been instituted. You know, crime these days is far, far, far bigger than the use of the death penalty. Of course, countries where the death penalty has been abolished, there's no evidence to show that once the death penalty has been abolished, crime rate has either increased or decreased. Of course, you see, so we don't want Ghana to be left behind. Progressively, there are several countries across the globe that are taking out the death penalty because they realize that it has outlived its usefulness. It is not serving the purpose of which it's meant. In any case, life is sacred. Life is a fundamental right. Okay? So it is important for us to, as a country, Ghana being a beacon of democracy in Africa, in West Africa, it is just good that we go by the progressive. So we welcome the Deputy Minister's personal view, but we completely disagree with him. We rather prefer that he joins us in this campaign to abolish the death penalty.
But in any case, this is his personal position, and I want to believe that government is still going ahead with moves that you have proposed.
Yes, of course. We are hoping that very soon we'll be meeting the Attorney General to see how we can push this forward. Larry, if you want to know, one of our allies in Parliament is even gone ahead to file a private member bill. Honorable Lawyer Francis Susu has filed a private member bill. Of course, we are solidly behind that bill to have the Act 29, the Criminal Offences Act, amended, Section 46 and related amended, where we can take out the death penalty so that judges may not have that power to pronounce a death sentence on suspected criminals. So we've gone very far. We are very far ahead of the Deputy Attorney General, and I'm sure that we will engage him once he takes office. We will definitely engage him to brief him on efforts made so far, and I'm sure he will join us.
All right, thank you very much, National Campaign Coordinator for Amnesty International, Samuel Aboche. Now, the Africa Afforestation Association has appealed to the government to partner it plant 50 million trees across the country using the water box technology. This, the association believes, conforms with the government's Greening Ghana initiative to plant 5 million trees nationwide. The program's manager of AAA, George Addo, said the partnership will contribute to achieve better results in a reforestation since the technology guarantees 90% survival of the seedlings.
The water box technology is designed to conserve and supply the seedling 50 ml of water per day through a fiber thread fixed beneath the water box for 12 months. This would keep the soil around the seedling moist all year round. The box also has an additional feature to conserve rainwater. The technology has proven its efficacy over the years, as the African Afforestation Association has used it to plant trees in the Volta, Greater Accra, and northern regions. In a bid to support the Green Ghana project, the association members planted cocoa, cashew, mahogany, and acacia seedlings using the technology at a section of the Tetekwashi interchange.
This technology helps prevent the newly planted trees from, it also enables the newly planted tree to get its root structure. Including on the government to collaborate with them in order for us to plant more trees.
Togbedra Aboetaka IV is the chairperson of the African Afforestation Association.
We know Tetekwashi is the one who brought cocoa to Ghana, but in the circle, you don't see anything, any cocoa tree around the area. So the association decided to come and take permission from Ghana government. We'll be given a small portion of land. We want to plant cocoa here so that those who come to the country as a tourist can also come and have a look at cocoa. It will also create opportunity for school children who don't have physical access to cocoa in the Accra town itself to come here and learn something about cocoa.
A former fisheries minister, Elizabeth Na Afforestation, who is a patron and trustee of AAA, implored citizens to take keen interest in the afforestation exercise.
His Excellency the President is championing this Greening Ghana project, and it behoves on everybody, every Ghanaian, to join hands with His Excellency and the Minister to green Ghana. We are losing our forests. We are losing our natural resources. The rains are not coming. We can see clearly that this year the rains have delayed. The rains are not coming because we have lost our forests. The ecosystem has been tampered with. So we are pleading with everybody. We are pleading with the general public. We are pleading with Ghanaians to join hands with us to green Ghana.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News.
Hello everyone, welcome to Sports on Joy News Prime. I am Muftao Nabila, and Ace Power Promotions in collaborations with Streetwise Promotions have organized a press conference at the Bullion Boxing Arena Center to announce their next event dubbed War Zone, which will feature Ghana-based Nigeria super featherweight boxer Wahab Oluwaseun against a tough South African Anthony Homeboy Molosani on July 10, 2021.
Headline bout is a big one because Joshua Oluwaseun Wahab, whom James spoke to about briefly, is a boxer who does not need an introduction. I mean, he has been in this for quite a long time. And he's a boxer with a lot of honors. Honors, it means he has won a lot of titles. From 2015 coming up to 2018, he has won a number of titles, from the Ghana super featherweight title to the IBF featherweight title, which he won in Lagos, in Nigeria, right to the WBA Pan-African title. This is a guy who boxing analysts and connoisseurs think that is the next, one of the next big things to happen to Ghana boxing, who probably will bring a title. In fact, Ghana, we are claiming him, even though he's from Nigeria. He has lived all his life here, James. So we are necessarily claiming him. And if he wins a title, of course, we also take some of the glory. So Joshua is our headline bout. He will be fighting Anthony Molosani. Molosani is a South African who is a great boxer. You know, I was watching a few days ago, I was watching some of his bouts on YouTube, and I have been asking myself questions. And I now understand why a lot more times South Africans are ranked better on Bosrec, because you could see that the opponents that they have been fighting, because if you check their records, most of the times their records are not very far from what our Ghanaian boxers have. But you go on Bosrec and they have 2-star, they have 3-star, they have 4-star. If you have 3-star on Bosrec, it's a big deal. Why is it that they keep on having that? It's simple. It's because the opponents they always get are very, very good opponents. I mean, here mostly, the opponents our boxers get are not very, very good opponents. It's not very, very competitive. So when they are given the points, you realize that our boxers usually don't get the points they deserve. So Joshua Oluwaseun Wahab and Anthony Molosani is our headline bout. They will be fighting for the WBO African Super Featherweight title. It will be a bout that I believe will give boxing fans a lot to cheer about. And I hope that definitely, of course, we hope that Joshua wins. But it's not going to be easy. It's not like he's going to get it on a silver platter. He has to work for it. And we hope that he will win this bout.
Still on boxing, former president of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Samir Khan, says that the decline of the sport in the country is due to indiscipline on the part of boxers. According to him, managers are unable to control their athletes.
It's the record that tells a story about a boxer. And this is what I'm happy you just mentioned. And we all Ghanaians, we want boxing in this country to be on the limelight before. Like DK Poison time, I caught it time, Azuma time, But with such things that is happening, you tell a boxer to fight somebody who's got good record, say, no, I won't fight him. I'm not afraid of him though, but I won't fight him. And the managers too, the boxers control the managers. They are not disciplined. The boxers are not disciplined. The managers can't control the boxers because they think it's the boxers that make the managers. No. To become a manager, you have to discipline yourself and discipline your boxer. You control the boxer. You spend your resources. You also have a family, to take care of. And you have taken care of somebody, child. And if the person is not listening to you, how can you get him to the top? So I'm happy you mentioned this, and I'm happy Mr. Nikwe too is here, and he's hearing it. He also go against certain things, And with the press, all of them too should help and raise the standard of boxing again in this country. Boxers don't want to train. The trainers don't train them well. And most of the trainers too don't know how to train. I'm saying it bluntly. If they like, they should challenge me. They don't know how to train. So it's the duty of the GBA to be strict with the trainers, to be strict with the boxers. The promoters are doing their best. Some of the managers are doing well, their best. And they don't get their money back. They fall on the wayside. So it's always good for you boxers, managers, trainers especially, to be strict on your boxers. Please don't come with any records, 20 wins, 2 losses, and blah, blah, blah. It's not good for your boxer. It won't get him there. True. It will never get him there. So I beg you.
Former GBA President Samuel Captain being blunt about the issues that have led to the decline of boxing in the country. That's all time will permit us for Sports on Your News Prime. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. It's now time for business. Paramount Chief for the Sikado traditional area, Nana Kobna Nketia V, has charged government to bring back the glory days of the industrial status of Second D through the revival of rail transport. The chief, in the statement, to welcome the Minister for Railway Development, John Peter Mewu, into his palace, recounted the hard work of railway workers in supporting manganese export. According to him, Ghana's industrial glory began from Second D through rail transport, hence the need to revive the sector to promote economic transformation.
I sometimes come to talk in Accra and somebody will walk up to me. Nana, my father used to work at the railways. They say it with pride. Oh, railways. Oh, Papa location. That place was a fabrication center for the whole country. Accra was built on railway money. The other day I heard one of the ministers, don't want to name him, talking about Kumasi becoming the second. The first industrial base was Sekendi Takradi. What has happened? Who talks for us? Without the railways, we were still being just like our Donkosumum. The railways gave us independence. The white man brought it to cut our goods away. The Ghanaians who came, led by Pobi Baine, used it to stop that from being done so that we can use the goods, our own resources for our own selves. The railways, you can't talk about Ghana's independence without the railways. That is independence. So everybody who goes to the railways has one spirit, freedom. That is us. The Harvard people will say ablode, but we said freedom. Honorable Minister, this thing that you've picked up, go and read parliamentary things. They will vote a certain amount of money for the railways and they will chop it and give us nothing. That is part of the reason. Go and look at the roads, as you said. It's not in the interest of certain people. It's part of this lack of nationalism, lack of patriotism to make sure that the railways come on board. It's a national duty. But those in charge of certain things who say, oh, we've gone to buy, Honorable Mr. Kazo from the truck, the huge trucks, which damage our roads. If I were the president, I'll mount a road barrier Every car carrying manganese, I'll throw it away till the railways is done. Every truck. It's our duty.
The Minister for Railway Development, John Peter Mel, assured that his visit to the Western region is an indication of his revamping of the sector.
The states of the railway sector need to be revamped. And I think clearly, as evidence been demonstrated by my predecessor, a lot of work has been done within the past 4 years. It is clear that the expenditure that the government under His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo spent within the railway sector on that 4 years is unprecedented. It is his intention and his government intention that we bring back the railway to a level that it was some 50, 30 years ago. We are all aware of the impact of railway in our society, economic impact, social, and employment. Going with days when we were told that the Railway Workers Union were over 7,000. Today, it's a little less than 1,000. Job opportunities will open up if we are able to revamp this railway sector. We are much aware of the deposit of our mineral resources. And this government, one of its major attention is to see how we add value to our mineral resources. We can only do that when we have a very good transportation system in place. Currently, our roads are not lasting. The lifespans of our roads are not lasting because of the traffic density that these huge trucks carrying manganese and other bauxites glide on the road constantly. So it's expected that if you're able to put the railway back, we will, number one, save the lifespan of our road, we will increase the employment in this country, and economic activities, of course, will add to the GDP that we have. And so, Nana, today we are here to visit your territory. One of the disturbing realities that is emerging of late is the stealing of some of our properties.
Well, the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization is leading the agenda to create a business environment for with secured credit profiles and other valuable data of customers to help reduce credit risk and cost of credit for economic development. Now, this is part of the digitalization evolution and will be done through the National ID card and the upcoming SIM card registration. There is more in this report.
Such a vision may in the future help consumers buy or shop on credit as applicable in highly advanced economies. Speaking on behalf of the Communications Minister, Chief Director Magdalena Penton said this is the true building block for the realization of the Ghanaian dream and unleashing the growth of startups. She disclosed this at the quarterly Stanbic Bank Graphic Business Breakfast meeting here in Accra.
Ladies and gentlemen, by making the Ghana card national ID the TIN number, we have increased the number of people with TIN numbers from 750,000 in 2016 to 15.5 million today. Also, making the national ID the SNIT number, we have increased the number of people with SNIT numbers from 3 million to 15.5 million. The national health insurance number is now the Ghana card number. The digitization of the births and deaths registry is about 80% complete. Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, GIFEC, an agency under my ministry, has embarked on a rural telephony project, which is aimed at closing the void created by mobile network operators' inability to extend coverage to communities with populations below 1,000 for commercial and economic purposes. GIFEC, as part of this mandate, is implementing this project in order to provide voice and data services to unconnected communities in Ghana. 400 communities have since benefited within 2 years, with over 600,000 people connected. Under this project, over 82 community information centers have also been connected to the internet. The government of Ghana has also recognized the digital skills gap, particularly girls and the marginalized groups, and has embarked on several interventions to address this issue and create opportunities for young people. And GIFEC is leading the implementation of a digital skills program that will provide about 14,000 citizens with job-ready digital skills. In particular, entrepreneurs, pupils, teachers, and marginalized groups through 200 centers across the country.
Madame Apentin said the government has made significant progress on cybersecurity development. She said the government will continue to work with stakeholders locally and internationally to scale up cybersecurity efforts.
Under the Ghana CARES Obatampa program 2, we will consolidate all government fiber assets held in various MDAs like ECG, Gridco, NITA, the road and railway sector to a robust, resilient digital infrastructure to provide services to all public sector agencies, link educational, health, security, industrial, agricultural, and local governance installations around the country, and lease excess capacity to the private sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to link all these systems to make it possible to analyze the data for planning purposes, build linked systems to provide better services to citizens, and facilitate easy retrieval of information and make anonymized data available to researchers and for other purposes including enhanced security.
Managing Director of Stanbic Bank Ghana, Kwamina Asmini, called for the cultivation of digitalization since the world has evolved with digitalization as the key driver of economic growth.
It is in this continuous search for an antidote to barriers to the Ghanaian dream that drives us all to consider the opportunities that digitization holds. At this point, let me commend the government and specifically Vice President Dr. Mohamed Bawumia for the efforts made at digitizing and formalizing the Ghanaian economy through the National Digital Property Addressing System and the National Identification Project. We also have our colleagues from the telcos who have been part of that journey in introducing the interoperability platform that has enabled both the telcos, the fintechs, and also the banks to work seamlessly to drive the cashless agenda to further digitize the economy.
The event was on the theme, Digitization, the key to unlocking the Ghanaian dream. It brought together stakeholders in the communications, financial, technology, academia, and the private sector.
Economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Godfrey Bokpen, who also spoke at the breakfast meeting, highlighted how going digital has a huge potential to reduce the country's high youth unemployment rate.
So, whatever we have been talking about here, the good things and all of that, they are hypotheses. To some extent, you can find some reality in there because a lot requires investment. Okay, and I'm sitting here thinking that this was a country that had a bit of excess liquidity a while ago, and people found men's gold, women's gold, just to be gender balanced. And today we are told the treasury bill subscriptions are more than 100% and all of that. But we are talking about a deficit here that has to be closed. So I'm looking at it that beyond the talk here, how do we put together the necessary financial vehicle to be, and we don't have to look up to government alone. And if we have to look up to government alone, I won't talk about the hypothesis because government just doesn't have the fiscal space. The government needs to mobilize a lot more money to pay wages and interest payment and all of that, and a few judgment debt here and there because they have come to be part of the narrative now, right? So we have to be able to look at harnessing domestic private capital. And here I'm not only talking about looking to foreign investment. In this country, when we talk about private capital, then we think that it has to come in a certain foreign color. But if you look at how much this country and this continent to the rest of the world is very huge. So it's more about doing the necessary engineering to ensure that we are able to map up these deficits and create the necessary financial instrument that can mobilize the excess capital that probably would have gone to Dubai, would have gone to other countries, and invest in this. If you don't do the investment, then there's no way you are going to translate this hypothesized benefit into actual in a manner that will benefit everyone. Because as it stands now, from what I'm gathering from here, the demand is there. How do you meet the demand? To meet the demand with investment. Okay, and this is certainly, back of the envelope analysis will tell you that the NPV will certainly be positive because it's clear that this is the direction. And I believe that is a call on all of us in the private sector, banks, financial institutions, and all that to make sure that we're able to map up the deficits and look at how we can close that in a manner that enables the telcos to be able to deploy the necessary infrastructure. And we are doing this not only in terms of just the digitization, but we are looking at it across all the levels in terms of cyber resilience, in terms of data privacy, in terms of Internet of Things, because now we have gone beyond just Internet. We are talking about Internet of Things.
Well, let's now bring you a summary of international business news. And that'll be all for business. I'm Charles Ayete, handing over to Israel.
Thank you very much, Charles, and that's it for the bulletin.